All right, we are here with Niko Tsakiris on a Wednesday afternoon, just days before the season opener coming up on the 22nd, Saturday night, 7:30 against RSL. Are you stoked? Are you excited?
Yeah, of course. It's the first game of the year. I think everyone's pretty excited, pumped up, ready for the season to get started.
How different does it feel for you this year, year number 4, versus going back to 2022 when it was a couple games into the season on a cold night in Philadelphia when you did get your debut?
Yeah, I think I've grown a lot, and I think, it's just another season that, we get to have a fresh start. So, I know that the group is excited and myself as well. Just, it's a fresh start.
Yeah. How frustrating was last year overall for you, just knowing that at the start of the year you were dealing with an injury, and then even though you did play well internationally representing the U.S., the team was, very early in the season pretty much out of the playoff picture?
Yeah, you're always going to have ups and downs in a season and in a career, but I think last year it was definitely a real learning year, I think, for me, just how to manage certain situations. And I feel like I've grown a lot, and I learned a lot from last year, the good and the bad. So taking that all into this year, and yeah, like I said, I'm excited.
How is it working with Bruce Arena up to this point?
Yeah, it's been good. I think obviously the success that he brings to the club and the team, we're all learning and growing from what he brings. And I think, yeah, it will be a good one this year, honestly.
What did your dad say when he heard about the hiring?
Yeah, obviously excited. There's a lot that he brings to the table, and even with just the name, a lot of people know the name, and getting to work with him every day has been fantastic.
How is it kind of learning his language and his style? I mean, I know he brought in guys like an Ian, like a Romney, who would immediately be able to help, Nick Lima as well, even though he didn't have as much time. Does those guys having experience with his system, does that help everyone else learn it?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I think when you bring in a new staff, a new head coach with players that have worked with him before, and they're able to just speed up the coaching process, I think it helps everybody.
Yeah, most definitely. And I looked at the 11-on-11 you guys were doing. It was testy. It was good, hearty competition. Does it feel like everybody's about over with the preseason and ready to get this show on the road?
Yeah, I mean, if the game was today, we'd be pretty excited. I think we had our good, run in preseason, and, a lot of learning, a lot of growing. And I think we're just ready to get started, and the guys are excited. Guys are ready.
How do you take the next step in your career? Because I know that, obviously you got to see more and more time with each passing year in your career. You had some great moments last year, but I guess how do you turn into that consistent performer where you're getting goal contributions? I think everybody saw what you've been building towards, and it's hard to judge last year because last year is a very difficult situation, but it does feel like you're on the cusp of taking that next step. So what do you have to do to take that next step?
I think a lot of it is just, finding ways to be effective and to get on the field to help the team. I think, that's always been something that I want to do. And I feel like even though last year wasn't as successful for myself, I feel like I still found ways to help myself during a tough season. And, whether that's just getting minutes and being on the field or growing, in training, doing some extra stuff. But this year in particular, I'm really looking forward to just being on the field. We have some good players that we've brought in, exciting players, and, just to play with them, learn from them, and work with them, I think is the biggest one that I want to, just take into this season and to grow with them and to be successful this year, help the team and help myself.
Why do you say last year was frustrating for you? Because the Niko I saw on the pitch was better than who was in 23, was better than who we saw in 22, but it doesn't sound like you're quite harmonizing the same idea that I have. Is that just because the team wasn't winning? And that
I would say the success played a part of that, but honestly, I feel that last year, okay, yeah, we didn't have the success, but I was able to get moments. I was able to get valuable minutes that I feel like have really helped me. So frustrating in terms of I think the success or the lack of from last season, but I feel like I still found ways to grow.
Now that you're older, are you better at handling the emotional highs and lows of what goes on throughout a season?
Absolutely. You learn a lot, even just your first year, and then going through what we did last year. I think it was valuable. I think it was important for me to kind of go through something like that, just to kind of find out more like the do's and don'ts when things are going, the way that they did last year. And, and when they're good and when the vibes are high, I think it's really important as well. So I feel like I learned that quite a bit last year.
It seemed like though the team was always in a pretty good mood last year. Like when I was at training, when I was on the road, it never seemed like guys were downtrodden. It seemed like everybody, like I'm sure towards the end, it was probably just kind of, once you get eliminated, it's just playing out. But at the same time, I never felt like guys were going in on game day not fired up. Like I would be down here watching you all warming up. It seemed like everybody was ready and raring to go. Like that was never lacking.
No, of course not. Of course not. I think in the job that we have, I think you always enjoy it. You know, there's going to be days where, you know, it's a grind like anything else, but I think for the most part, you know, this is what we love to do. This is, you know, why we do it. And I think you bring that every day, no matter the circumstance.
How is it working with the new guys like a Dave Romney, like an Ian Harkes, Mark Anthony Kay, you know, guys, Chicho, Joseph Martinez? Is it, I don't know, how is your Spanish? That's maybe the best question.
Yeah, it's getting better. It's getting better. I understand quite a bit, able to communicate here and there, but no, I mean, the experience that they bring in, it's incredible. And, you know, I feel like getting to learn from them and work with them, I think is the biggest one. And, you know, just what they have and the things that they've achieved in their careers, and to be able to, you know, play with them and grow with them this year, I think is really valuable for me.
When Bruce came on, he talked a lot about, you know, knowing that he was taking on a quote unquote difficult situation. I think that's the other part of the discussion, Niko, is, and Bruce acknowledges, like the points on the table last year were in no way indicative of how good the team was. So does everyone feel like they're on board to be like, all right, let's flush last year, make the corrections and show everyone that last year was a complete fluke and that shouldn't have been how it was? Like, does everybody feel on board for that type of a project?
Yeah, of course. And I think I touched on it a little bit. It's a clean slate. It's a new start. Like every season is, successful or not, you know, we still have to come in and do our job on the weekend and every day really. But, you know, it matters on the weekends, and we recognize that, we know that. But yeah, like every season, it's a fresh start for us to be able to come in and change things, you know, change things, because last year wasn't what we wanted it to be. And I feel like this year we have the opportunity to change that.
Did you change anything in your off season after doing 2 straight preseasons where you've been dealing with some soft tissue injuries?
I think a lot of it was more, you know, learning. I feel like I say that a lot, but
learning is painful, isn't it?
Yeah, you're gonna have ups and downs, but honestly, I feel like, you know, growing and learning from what mistakes I had made, or, you know, I'm doing too much or things like this, and areas where, okay, I need more of this, less of this. And so I think just kind of combining the past 2 years and, you know, really putting it into this off season and getting ready for this preseason, you know, it's helped me a lot. And, you know, knock on wood, I've been healthy up until this point. So, yeah.
I've watched you over, obviously, every step of your career at the MLS level. And it seems like if we compare the decision-making that you were doing in 2022 versus 23 versus 24, from our vantage up top, and the classic take is the further away you get from the field, the easier the game looks. But it does look like the game is slowing down for you. Like your decisions aren't as hurried. Like the overall pace of the game, you've adapted to it, and now your decision-making is often quicker than those around you. Does the way I'm describing it, does that make sense with what you see out there on the pitch now?
Yeah, I think the more you play and the more that you're, you know, around the field and on the field, you grow and you get better, and the game becomes a lot more simple, and you realize that you have a lot more time and space than you think. Certain moments, not so much, but I would say for the most part, you find ways to, you know, recognize certain moments. And I feel like just me being able to play and the minutes that I've played the past few years, I think it's really helped me. So to touch on your point, I think just being on the field and getting that experience has helped.
You were, 16 when you made your debut, right?
Yeah.
Do you laugh about that now, like looking back, being like, I can't believe I made my debut when I was that young?
Come a long way. Yeah, changed a lot, learned a lot. Yeah, I just feel like I've matured quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the funny thing. I remember last year, everybody's like, yeah, Niko left after 23, you know, in his late teens and came back 34 because you like bulked up and stuff. But that's part of the process, though. It's like you have to, you know, when we're watching you young guys out there, because not everybody comes in with the strong safety build like Cade Cowell, but like young guys come out there and like you realize like, oh, these dudes are in their 30s. They're literally like twice as old as you. And like they've got that much more time to put on muscle, to put on strength and experience. I've watched you get bigger, watch Oscar get bigger out there. Like just, I think people often like think about, oh, the weight room, like you're just getting stronger, but it's like, no, like you're pushing, it's mass on mass. Like a lot of it is just being able to take up more space out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, yeah, that was a big part of kind of me being able to play as well, is just because I grew as much as I did that year. And, I think I've kind of found my right weight right now, which is good.
Also, the last year I noticed that your speed was better. And I think that's the hardest one to do, because you always want to be moving as fast as you can, but the game doesn't always allow you to move as fast as you can. And that, I feel like, is the next step for a lot of players, to figure out how to incorporate their max speed with everything they want to do. Is that something like you feel like you're better at doing now than you were?
Absolutely. I feel like there was a point where I just kind of got bigger to get bigger, and which was good. It helped me, and then just kind of tapering down a little bit to work on the things that I need, getting more explosive, a little bit quicker, and my change of direction. I think I've kind of found that sweet spot, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling sharp right now. So
you feel like, do you feel faster when you're out there? Like, that's cool. That's the thing that I think people, again, they look at it from the 30,000 foot view, where it's like, oh, he's working on speed, he's working on strength. But it's like, when you actually feel it when you're playing, that's got to be the satisfaction part of it.
Yeah.
So are you, for Saturday, do you still get nervous at this point, or are you just kind of like, hey man, let's just go?
I think it's more excited than anything, honestly. And you also rely on the work that you've done up until this point, and I feel like the staff has pushed us, and the group has pushed each other, and I think that's really important for us to just be ready and feeling confident going into this weekend.
Right on, Niko. Well, I'll let you go, man. Appreciate your time as always, and I'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.